anyways, back in the MT4 platform, and I'm looking at the gold market on the weekly here, and I guess, there's books have been written about candlesticks, and this is the out-of-the-box candlestick from MetaTrader. So we could probably do a better job at the colors here, and this would make a big difference, I think, as far as how you perceive the market. Well, for me, everything I say is about the way I see it, so if you don't see it the way I see it, you're in trouble. But the colors are such a big deal because I feel like it identifies, it's giving me a signal on its own. The emphasis of the data, I can make it, if I scrunch it down and take the candles out, the cool thing about MetaTrader, when you zoom out, it becomes a bar at some point. So I noticed that right away on the phone. And I wish I had MT4. I don't know if MT4 Mobile still runs on a Windows phone. They claim there's no Windows phones out there, so there's a wide open market there. To start a new phone, I mean some kind of hybrid that can continue, like I'm thinking a Western Electric keypad, so real old school keypad on top of a cell phone. Like, just let's accept that it's a phone. Otherwise, just call them computers. I'm tired of people calling these fucking cell phones phones. The smartphone's not a smartphone. Not a phone. It's just smart. And so here's the world, smartphone. And let's not forget the guys over there at, what is that, multi-level market trading, where they're just pulling the trigger on a phone. Swing turn the shit out of it. And I don't know if those guys are still out there. I haven't seen too many. I can't remember their name. But you know what I'm talking about. The market thing with the come join us. And I almost went to a meeting, and I thought, I don't know. The guy was like charging. Dude, you're going to charge me to show up at your meeting? Are you kidding me? We don't even know who you are. So I just don't, can't remember, but it'll come back to me. So this whole thing here, I've spent hours just sticking with this aspect of the platform, to be honest with you. And I noticed that this grid that they throw up here is just kind of in squares. It has no relationship to price. And it's kind of something for a framework into the future for your brain to hold on to. Those could be possible entries. I certainly don't see the point in putting a... well, I guess you can do anything you want. There's some things that I guess depending on how you want to trade the market. Now, if I hear one more time a person saying, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, when it gets up here, I'm going to sell. Okay, so you think it's going up and you're going to sell. Well, why don't you just buy on the way there? This is just obvious, isn't it? What is the point? And what people would say is, well, I want to make sure this trade's going to work out, so I'm going to put the order up in there, and I'm going to sell a pull up or a pullback. I always think pull up, pull down, if the market's going up and down. So this is another orientation problem, is that how do you perceive the market? Did you spend, like I did, $300 on Steve Neeson books? Because even if you fucking don't know how to trade, these are great coffee table books. They're big, they're bold, they're black, they're red, and it looks impressive. And you can tell people the story of how the three marching soldiers, that's how you bought the Lamborghini. Yeah, I loaded the wagon on that, took a chance, and I got in before the third soldier. I mean, this is the whole point in this game, is to get in before it's fucking obvious that, oh, it's going up. Well, what's going up? You're fucking chasing it. So if you say you're not chasing it, how are you situating your orders to claim you're not chasing it or claim you're not waiting for fucking holy grail entries or optimal trade entries? How are you getting these fucking markets? To this day, nobody's fucking addressed it. They'll tell you all about, oh, well, look at this fucking, let me hindsight you some Batwing that blows your mind on a monthly yen. Okay, great. Dude, I can show you the top become a bottom at the bottom of the month. What does it tell you now? Nothing. The market turned around in one sliver on a half-hour chart. There's 48 bars that day. There was a hammer in probing into monthly lows. It's the dumbest fucking shit you've ever seen. It happens over and over again. Nobody's got a trade plan for it that they're spelling out. That's rational. I mean, that's even but you have to have like fucking, if you're going to do that, then you're a trader. Now you got to do the other guy's trade. If anybody said to you that they're going to buy the dollar Swiss or the S&P 500, what time frame? 5 minutes? And this guy Dave Gibson, who used to comment on my thing, it was elaborate, deep, almost Peterson-esque depth of. That's what Jordan Peterson is just spewing out and thinking on the spot, and that's all I'm doing in my video. I'm not making money. He's making. He's thinking out loud. This motherfucker's never fucking thought this shit out. He's, you write a book, right? This is when you're supposed to actually concretize this whole fucking thing because you wrote a book. But people write that book and they're like, shit, we're gonna have to fucking re-edit that. That's what I said is fucking wrong. So, it's just people throw stuff all the time that's not right, and you'd have to figure out what is your tolerance for pain. Like I said in the last video, how big of a pain slut are you? But it's not pain if you realize that if you're going to do like 100 push-ups on your knuckles, that you probably have to work up to that. In other words, if you wanted to trade a standard lot, well, you would, the pain of being in fucking one position is either not painful enough so people are over fucking trading it, or it's too painful and they don't want to pull the trigger. So when I started out, I had to have like $1,500 per contract of soybean in margin just to trade it. I don't know what that leverage is. Maybe it's just 10 to 1. It's 5,000 bushels, $6 a bushel. So the fear level was insane, dude. I studied so fucking hard. I read every fucking book. I spent probably flying around. I said meeting these people. Like, okay. And then I thought, what about me? Like, I can't fucking be. This one guy was so laid back about his trading. I'm like, and this is the guy that ICT trained under, Gerald Appel. Okay, I bought his fucking video on beta. This guy was a floor pivot guy. And he would just be on the beach calling this fuck. I spent $50 on the video. The guy's on the beach calling a fucking order in Chicago for a trade. Okay, great. What's your next trade? Like, you cannot just fucking live off of one trade either. And you got to go back to the same agonizing, maybe it's boring, but yeah, the 1 minute, some guy asked me when I do a 1 minute chart playback, I'll do it. You just got to find a EA that's not going to crash on the 1 minute, because the 1 minute data is kind of iffy, I suppose. Of course, you only got to go back like two weeks on the 1 minute chart. You could take sample sets. People say, well, what does it work over time? Well, I guess if you dial it in, it's like as if it's like having a fucking SUV race and a high-end, open wheel race thing going on at the same time, or like a tank against a Indy car. You don't see races like that, but that's what these markets are about. A market will sit there and just dick around and be doing nothing and just torturing anybody that's got this, like, it's only torturing the people that built some fucking harebrained, goddamn dialed-in, curve-fitted bullshit system. It's not hurting the people that have admitted that the next week is unique. There's no fucking repetition here. And it is about, dare I say, the stop hunt. You've got to be the guy hunting the stops. You cannot fucking be always trading breakout. You can do that too. I'm not saying that I'm anti-goober, because this is what gets people by. They get into a trade, it's going their way in a velocity that's enough for them to move their trailing stop, and they make money in this fucking thing. But I'm talking about if you were to not depend on one setup. You could, But, you know, you're probably not going to make the kind of money that if you trade multiple setups. So even if you had some, say you had a prop house and there's 10 guys in there, some guy is a Batwing fanatic. And he's not killing it, but he's also not dragging down the whole prop house. Okay, I get it. But it's harebrained shit. I mean, it's you're asking the market to respect some design that you put on the chart. It's so bizarre. The hardest thing to do is to accept the market the way it is right now and the way it could be later. And so if you had, like, but for me being impatient, that's why I can't accept when people say, oh, I'm just going to sell it if it pulls down to here. Okay, put the order in now. And this is another thing. Are you going to fucking babysit that entry? Confirm, watch it. You want to see it come in there before you pull the trigger. Why would you do that? Because I guess part of you wants to show up and actually fuck to make a baby. You think that's fucking, but if you just laid a order in there and accepted that, right? So you basically have planted your member out there waiting for somebody to mount it, as opposed to you thinking you're going to chase down the market and you're going to cornhole it in a liquidity level. It's just, I get it, but it's not good to always live in that one world. It's okay to be plotting, and it is got to be careful. And maybe that's fine. You know, then you should just go watch the Careful channel of living a careful life. If you're too careful, you just wouldn't go. You would just, if you played it safe, you wouldn't do anything, because driving in a car is the riskiest thing I've seen to date. Trading to me isn't risky. It's a direct patch to a financial balance that you attach. Unfortunately, this is the problem. Since you're trading money to make money, it's not like you're trading cars to make money or trading hookers to make money. You're actually looking at a number in front of you that if it's up, the most normal people would say if it's up, the number's up, that you're up on the trade. And if it's down, you're down on the trade. And if it's a negative number. So what do you consider a loss? A loss is not a hard, there's no, okay, so you lost 10 of your family members in a plane crash. Okay, that's a loss. Now you back that down to trading a demo and losing. You're in a demo account, you're losing. Okay, this is zero pain. Well, this still could be psychologically painful, but financially, you cannot claim that that is a problem. Okay, you're wasting time. You are wasting time. That's true. You know, you could be doing something else and playing some stupid game or going to a movie. But how much do you like the whole idea of fucking with a computer? I mean, this is really what it's about. For me, I like the computer. I guess as much as I only bitch about the operating system, but the idea of a computer is just amazing. It's like a tool that's just, it's 2D, and it's just a great tool. I mean, it's where it's at now. You can't, if you were to say, well, okay, you could go out and live in the woods, but you probably won't be trading the Forex, right? So here we are, trying to, and I'm in the, there's nothing here fancy. This is just what MetaTrader comes with. And just going to the rudimentaries of this, because this guy was saying in the email that it was technical analysis. It was so complicated. Well, no shit. They basically pile on to the, most books I've read is they take you on this whirlwind tour of like, okay, well, here's data. We're going to smooth it. We can identify the trend that way. What we're going to do is we're going to take reality. We're going to put a little cushion on it. We can get you beer. We'll get you some heroin. And we'll mellow you out. This will take the anxiety out of life, out of trading. And you can follow this simple system here. And it's all well and good. I think it would be good if you just want one instrument like that. And then you see, oh, okay. But what people typically would do is say, if it's good for the goose is good for the gander or whatever. No, it's not. let's just use it on fucking 20 currencies and make money. This is the beautiful moving average crossover system. I back test the fucking shit out of it on the 1 hour. Yeah, it gets chopped up, but this is out without regard to win-lose ratios when you back test. You're back testing for probabilities? It doesn't make sense. There's another big, it's a high probability trade. Well, compared to what? I mean, no, not compared to what. I mean, even if it's a really high probability trade, do you really think that if you took it down to an entry that was 4.5 pips and your broker's giving you plus commissions 2 pips on the spread, you're 50% of your cost. You're right up against the wall. As you move away from 4 pips all the way to 24 pips, and say you added in a stacking, or even geometrically, you go 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, and by the time you get to the end of that thing, you're at some insane size. And each one of those tickets has a unique stop and a unique take profit. And you wrote this script, and it took you probably take you about an hour. I mean, if you just wrote it for one side, the buy side only would take you an hour to write that. So, but you have that written, and when you launch that, you'd have to figure out how long does those tickets last. I guess this is a different kind of algorithmic trading. These are one-time algo launches. It's not, you could have a robot for that, but who's going to maintain that robot? I mean, it all sounds great when people talk about, well, I got an EA. Okay, dude, are you freaking out because your EA's underwater and it's hedging? I mean, we've all seen the robots that when you run them back test, as soon as it lets go of the hedge or the spread goes to the next session, it just wipes the account out. Yeah, because you're just tugging it. You just can't get in there. You do have to have some thinking about where are you at in the landscape of what happened before. In market profile, if it wasn't such a distortion, I mean, the other version of market profile is just scrunch the chart out, but then you got to do the jigsaw thing. And you've got to put in all of your support and resistance zones, support and resistance voids, really. Where have we been? And now what's the current volatility based on the previous bar? And I guess if you had to tell the robot, okay, go back to as soon as it makes a turn in the highs and lows, quarton off that and say, okay, there. And just ignore because it's too hard for the robot to look at the void within the void. But I guess a blanket, a market profile, anybody else with market profiles, but turn the chart sideways and you're like, okay, I guess, but what do you do about those? What do you do about it? So it's kind of, when you profile it that hard, I think you lose perspective of what is the longest existing void. So the problem with market profile is it's compressing it so bad that it's not letting you see what's more important. And you can see also the framework of top become bottom in time. The pivot where everybody says, or the hedge funds, or anybody that's hedging says, or it's just sector rotation of people saying, you know what, this market's just dead. Let's go into this other market. And then the people left behind, and then the pressure's building up on either side of a market, and at some point it gets kicked off into a void. And you'll see this happen. It's coming because the longer these markets track, the more data we have to look at. So it's only going to get easier. And you're still going to have to, and people would say, well, the market's changed and you built this robot and it doesn't work anymore. Well, no shit. I mean, that's happening on the 15-minute chart all day long, that the market is in a beautiful breakout, pullback, crush down, stop hunt everybody in a 4.5-hour ledge, basement, carve out, undercut. Look at it like the river's cutting into the shore and eventually just caves in. and then eventually the river straightens out once it cuts in enough. This constant cycle. And some of these things are just crazy. I mean, New Zealand dollar. I mean, this thing's just been trading for a few years compared to the whole extent of, I suppose, the Dow, because they fuck with the index. So what's the point of that? They just keep on inserting. When I heard that they were putting instruments in and out of the Dow to make the index and weighting it, what the fuck is that? And that's its own moving average in a way. So it is kind of smoothing the data out, or people are saying, well, this is a composite. Whereas an instrument that's erratic, like these cross rates of pound dollar, it's weird. I mean, it's over the counter. It's spiky. It looks like penny stocks. And then you have the, this is why people are saying, oh, the level 2, like, what are you talking about? I get it. What they're saying is, oh, well, there's only one market in the world, and it's, in other words, all that volume is real data. It's transparency. It's not helping you make a better decision. What are you're still going to shit your pants if you got in too big and you have too wide a stop, and you just gave back 3 days of work or 3 months of work in one trade, and you're like, yeah, well, you would just go back to trading because you know how to do it. I mean, then you say, maybe I'm risking too much per percentage of account. Maybe if in other words, 2 ways to build an account for me. You're going to start with $100 or $400, and you're going to trade it as if you got $400 in the account. You just plod along. Maybe later on you treat it like you have 800, but you wouldn't. As soon as you got to $8,000, you have to treat it like you got 800. So yeah, you can start off out of the gate like samurai trader and flip an account, but then you've got to put it into retirement mode and open another account, do the same thing. You cannot take, well, maybe it's just me. I just trade without stops. So I just went totally to the floor. You know, I'm not feel like I'm risking hardly anything. Maybe $1,000 a month I'm risking. And I'm making all this money. And then something bad happens, and years ago, something bad happened, and I just couldn't take it, so I didn't even protect my profits. So it's way up, and I let them go. Plus the brokers were just folding, and the whole market was dissolving. At the same time that I'd already written the first script, figured out I could do it, and I just saw this thing called send pending inside MT4, and I said, I wonder if I copy that line, if I can run more than one ticket. And as soon as that happened, I was off to the races. So at that same time, there was scam brokers out there, and there was, but I had about 20 brokers at one time, maybe 25, because about 5 of them were just like, I mean, I couldn't even, I just maybe traded there with $50, and then they blocked the door, like, you're not allowed to trade here anymore. And then here comes I don't know if it's the government claiming they're going to protect you, but here comes all of the regulation and and I guess I have to blame this on the people. Why does the government, did somebody complain? Okay, if you complained, it's like somebody suing Guitar Center because they bought a guitar and they sound like shit when they get home. It's not Guitar Center's fault. They didn't con you into buying a guitar, and then you sound like shit. But when people are taking courses, which is education, I guess that's more a possibility, because intangible, you can't say, well, let's see what they taught you. And I mean, I could teach you how to drive a car. You could still crash it, and it wouldn't matter anyways. So, I mean, I'd say there's, I don't know if there's really, people say, is there a good book? I would say, yeah, yes and no. I mean, Mark Douglas, you could read that, but let's face it, Mark Douglas, and, when I heard him say that he was using Fibonacci for his entry, I'm like, okay. Well, in other words, this is called an edge. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. But of course, I think he never saw he never thought about computerized trading, launching orders into outer space, basically into outer space. So it's inconceivable that somebody would just go netting for fish instead of sitting there with a line and I get it. When somebody invented the grid or the net, people are like, yeah, but that's not real fishing. You got to sit on the shore there and get drunk with a rod and reel. Okay, this is the idea that you're going to get in some fucking harmonic pattern. We got a big fish here. Got a lot of line on this. Big wide stop on this order. And I'm only risking 2% of my account. I put $1 million in the account. I'm just going to go for it. And of course, how are you getting into that trade? Well, I'm probably just going to pull the trigger in about 2 minutes here if you want to watch. How does this happen? Why? If the Gartley thing's all that crazy, it should be like yelling. You should see bat wings fluttering on your screen. There should be vampire blood seeping out of your monitor. So here's the signal is I have rabies, and that's how I've been in this trade for fucking. I'm gonna die, but I'm up so big on this trade. You have no fucking idea. So getting back to the chart here, I'll make everything white here. Line graph, which actually, if you make the line graph white, and you make everything also different color, you'll see gravestones show up. It's all will be white. That's interesting on the small time frame chart. It's like 5 minutes, but it still doesn't give you a trade plan. It doesn't tell you how big the trade and how tight the trade. So all white here. This is the classic. What you see in the books is black, but it's just hollow and not hollow. And I have my sell limit here on the gold. So we've tagged the gold weekly, and the scalpers have got in, I suspect, at this top. There's a huge reaction there, a lot of orders. Plus, there are people that are short from this rooftop, and they are underwater. If we dip below here, which we could have earlier, I can't see it, and the only way to see that is to. So I'm going to go in 5x from the weekly. This is the gold market, and look at all these juicy entries here. Can anybody see the stop hunt entry? So you have this candle here, which is a classic inverted hammer. It's also a doji. And the rally cannot get past here. So it's just simple. This is just, I don't think this is technical. Maybe it is. Would you just keep moving a line here and trailing? Now, you got to believe that there is a bear bot that has a money management stop here that just keeps trailing the weekly. If it's sold, of course, if it trails too tightly, it got stopped out. So if it only trails 2 bars back, you can only imagine the difference in the results of a robot that trails like this, conservatively giving it a lot of room, and finally getting stopped out, as opposed to a robot that says, okay, let's go and trail that stop. We're up in the trade. Okay, that's your... You had to sell if that... I see people posting in my thing. They don't realize it's never going to show. It's probably that Dimrim. But if Dimrim's watching, you only have to go back 1 bar to tell the story. See the clipping of this rooftop here. Let me see, clear this off. Look how precision this is. And of course, I'm presupposing you waited 2 weeks to get filled there on that. But if you sold there, where the conservative bots are getting stopped out. So if you imagine a stop bot that goes back 2 bars, he trails, then he trails to here, then he trails to here, and he gets stopped out. So does this guy. And so this guy's taking heat. Now, you could be the guy, and you have to choose which one you can afford to do and which one you can have the time to lay all the tickets in. Because if you think this is in a downtrend, and how could you not, that any rally in a downtrend you're supposed to sell. So based on my 3 triage, my 3 entry, the first thing to consider is, did it rally in a downtrend, and at the end of the week you have to sell here. Now, it doesn't mean you did not get stopped out, because if you sell here with a tight stop, yes, you're fucked. So that but a huge rally like this, besides it came off the floor down here, that is your, I mean, you can't just have, if you're trading the weekly, you have to have a wide stop and trade real lightly because there's plenty of time to pick up a lot of orders here. If you had bought on a limit of new lows here, you got 3 fills. You know, if you put 3 tickets in that window, I think this is what is difficult to conceive, is that you would put orders in advance. With just trusting that what you just saw really did happen. We really did come down here in gold. And we really are, and this is really a low. That is a higher low. That is a price of importance. It opens here. Actually gaps down open and golfs. I guess it's true in golf. And people are like, woohoo. Of course, anybody that bought, another thing I think that causes the market to do what it does is people that thought, well, this is a great place to buy right here. And they're like, wow. And look at this doji window. Also, it's a narrower. The thing about dojis is it's a narrow window. And that's what makes it less risky. So here's, if you look at the doji, and now if you're buying on the down bars on close, this is a great trap right here below the, if you believe in auctions and unfair value. So as soon as it starts to crush in here, it's hunting the stops of the really tight bull bots because they went long here. I gotta use this fucker here. So the people that think they've nailed the first, in other words, they're getting in at wave, the end of wave 2. So if this is 0 in Elliott wave, this is 1, 2, and they think, oh, dude, we are so up in this trade. They moved their stop to here. They got stopped out. You can see all the misfortune of people that run certain kinds of trade plans in here. This is kind of a doji, but sell stop here, trend continuation entry for sure, right? As soon as it pulls up, so you sell, and then you have sell stops here. I'm talking about like using all these entries, but it doesn't make much money. And if you, without regard to volatility of each candle wick to wick, if you start putting in buy stops here, how long did they last? You kind of want to tighten them up here, don't you? You want to get in the smallest. So let's talk about risk in terms of pips, which isn't fair, but just for sake of cleaning up the entries here. This won't be the ultimate trading system, but it'll just have to do. Any rally, you sell. So there's only one sell there at the market at the end of the week. Here's another sell, and here's another sell. So you have 3 sells at the market. How do they work out? Well, it depends. I mean, if you ran a stop here, not so good. Here, you're fine. If you trailed it, you're like, oh, this is great, man. I can't believe it. It's beautiful. Okay, then you get stopped out. But you made, with a stop here, and your initial entry at the market, so your market order entry, trailing stop, goober, money management. You risked all of this to make this, so you made like almost triple, right? You finally got stopped out. And you would say, I can sell this course for like $400. I'll show you how to trade candlesticks. But it would just be such a daunting task to actually, like, what do you do now? Well, you'd be selling. If you're selling in a downtrend, you would have sold here, 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 and here, and you're underwater. My system is you'd sell a ton here, and a ton here, but you wouldn't sell that much here as it drifts up. You'd also have to, when I say sell, you're cashing out. In other words, when this closes up hard here, you might have gotten filled. If you have sell limits here, you already got filled on these. And this one finally made money a little bit, if there's a scalp built into that. But you definitely had to buy this, or you're getting out of your short. So when it makes a big move, and here's where it's psychologically difficult, because it's real whipsaw action here. And now this move is so big, maybe it's too big for your stop. If you can only afford to put in stops like that are this big, then maybe this is too big because you realize, oh boy, But that's why you'd want to have more than one ticket. You have, if they're all the same size, you got a stop like this, and a stop like this, and a stop like this. But you're looking to make, X. But you're going to have to wait a long time to get paid here. Whereas if your initial risk was you had a big basket down here that you hand placed, because this is why Ryan Brown's wasting his time with these robots. It just speaks to the millennial laziness of it all, and these smartphones and all this smart bullshit. Also, I'm at the airport, and they have these warnings about smart bags. If you have a smart bag, and I hear it on the thing, take the battery out. And I just bought a camera, and I'm thinking, I gotta fucking take the battery out of my camera? Shit, like, the fuck? If you have a smart bag, and you can't remove the battery, they take your bag. And I'm like, okay, that's, wow. So, it's tough out there. I'd rather be trading this shit. But, this is very difficult territory in here, because look how choppy that is. So selling at the market, and then are you going to sell here at the market and sell here, and maybe you're getting out of your stuff here, and that's what your sell is, you're cashing out. And now what? Are you going to put a sell stop here? I'm not. I'd rather put a sell limit here. So how do you know which ticket to use when? Okay, maybe I sell a little bit at the market here. I feel like I missed out. I really wanted to put sell limits here in front of the market. I'm a very contrarian, so I'm always contrarian. If you say it's sunny, I say, well, look at the cloud just fucking over there. So I'm very disagreeable. And so I think that, yeah, here are buy limits, right? So you're always... another thing is, why don't people account for the other direction? People say, oh, I think it's going down, so I'm going to put a sell limit here. And I'll wait for it to come up here, and then I'll get in, and I'll get out here. Or I'll get out here. I'll get out here. Yeah, that's one scenario, dude. Why can't you do both? Well, because I've identified the trend. It's making higher highs and higher lows. But, dude, it's fucking... Are you kidding me? Look at the monthly chart. Are you getting mind? So you watch people. You think, what the fuck are you talking about? Here's the monthly gold chart. Oh my God, this is Becky. This is different. Look at this spinning top shit, doji. I always like that spinning top, and I thought I was really fucking onto it. I just feel bad, man. I just feel bad for all the... Oh, here's 701. So we're on to it here. We're on the bus, people. So in which bus is going where, when, how, right? It's hard to say. So it looks to me like gold current last thing was going in downtrend, but this is just so silly to talk about. I mean, you're just gonna someday you're gonna wake up to the fact there's no such thing as a trend. There's no such thing as a range. There's no such thing as anything. I mean, it sounds really like some kind of Zen bullshit, but okay, the market's really went up this month. It looks like gold could close up at the end of the month. There's only like a few days left, but so what? What the fuck do you care? Are you excited because you got in it like fucking... Okay, let me ask you this. It's so funny because everybody must be on a different page financially, is even the trade they're in. We can't all be in the same trade. So to speak about, well, it looks like here, this is what's going the big boys. Dude, everybody is... Time is in the present and it's coming at you. You can't stop time. Somebody's going to end up making money and somebody's going to end up losing money without any regard to whether they even fucking know what they're looking at or thinking about. They invested with some goober down the street. Got him in a 401k. It was a bullshit fucking thing. Bond market. Oh, no, that's place to be. Oh, place to be. Or some guy sitting there, like I said, on meth, scalping the fuck out of a 1 minute chart with his hand shaking. Zero spreads, straight commission. Sleeps 4 hours a day. He's got people handing him money all day long. He's just shaking. He doesn't want anybody to know who he is. Down to the guy that's just like, oh yeah, well, we invested in this property, like Akil Stokes. He's going the real estate business. I'll show you some bat wings, and then I got to go see if I can fuck up a real estate deal. We got Greystone now going around the world talking all these prop houses. Look at this is what you do. Then he admits in his last video that, oh yeah, I just trade like once a month. Okay, well, you don't need the money. You're making enough money selling courses. You don't have to fucking hustle. You don't have to get on the chart and worry about that shit. You're making enough money. So that's another thing that people resent. Hey, look at this guy. He's showing me how to drive a car at high speed, and he doesn't even own a golf cart. So, and I guess, they're asking so much money. These Greystone, Stapletons, and all these people, they're what, $5,000 for the course. Okay, you know what? Yeah, I spent $2,000 to go see Van Tharp in a room with 30 people, but yeah, I don't know. I guess it didn't seem at the time like it meant anything, and if it comes down to nothing more than realizing that was not the whole story, you've satisfied your curiosity in having somebody. So I get all the fans and stuff, people. You should see the comments in that empowered trading thing. You just read the comments and people are just like, well, that really explains a lot. Okay, I guess, right? But it's a fantastical explanation. It's not it's not like, I don't know. I guess if you present something and you're not ugly, people are going to buy your course. I think if you can imagine if these people were obese, one-eyed monsters and they were just showing you like scripts or something, it just would not work out. It's like, well, you see what, here's this button you program and you hit this and it buys you the market, see? And you got like one eyeball. People are like, oh man, I don't know this, but of course, maybe people trust you more because they go, wow, who would try to market? If this didn't work, how could somebody show up looking so fucking ugly and sell it? And like, that's why it's so good, man, because like, who would do? And so there's always the exception that proves the rule. But yeah, I don't know, like to say that gold's going to go and like Bull Pony says, going to go to like 10 grand or some shit. Or Bitcoin's going to go to like 10. What are these people doing, man? It just shows how loaded people are. Like, people are just so enjoying life that they're totally irrational. And, yeah, I'd have to go looking for some of those reviews where people are predicting the market moves. But I do think oil has had it a little bit here. I noticed the gasoline just got really cheap here. I feel like buying a Sherman tank or something. Hey man, oil's so cheap. Let's go get some gear. Oil chart looks like it's not Oh, I'm in drawing mode. So yeah, the oil thing's backed off. Look at this thing come ripping back. Now here's a thing that I marked off, and here we've tagged and bagged that monthly window. I don't know. This is probably not going to help anybody that I was just talking about candles. I just dumped out on the candlestick chart. But I did find the line chart with the bar chart to be psychologically less demanding and a true representation of volatility, although I do like the Steve Neeson Coffee Top books. So I guess I just had to, this is partly because of RSI that I have a line chart actually. Because RSI is a line chart. It's indexed to current closing prices, not, you can't have a smooth one. You can do a 2-period RSI smooth. In other words, smooth the data, then tell RSI to index a moving average. But now this is when you go down this rabbit hole of putting so much compression on somebody that the compressors are breathing and that you can't tell what the music is that you're trying to play. Like, I figure the market's like playing in a band, and you got to know what they're playing for you to join in or not get in the way. And you have something to add to the music. It's not a fair analogy because you can affect the band. You can't persuade them, but so the ocean with the wave surfer guy is a better analogy for trading. But this they say don't fight the wave. But this, like the chorus to me is the trend. So the verse is the range, and that explains the chorus because it is the story in the range accumulation distribution that makes it so that everybody's in a chorus agreement on the move. And you're cutting through uncharted frequencies that you didn't have in the other piece of music. So I'm seeing it basically music and scale-wise too. The notes of the scale, major, minor moves. You can have a bunch of minor moves, and that's where jazz is. You can make a bunch of half steps and weave yourself around. And some people cannot tolerate the jazz music. They think it's noise. When I first heard jazz, I said, dude, you guys, what the fuck? Where's the beat? Like, dude, where's the beat? And it took a while, I guess. Well, it didn't take too long to realize that it wasn't going to change as far as sounding like there was no beat. And then I could see the syncopation. I could see the thread of stability down the middle of all the noise. So that's like, the range is kind of like, or you could say at the bridge, the bridge is a turnaround. And let's see, Wyckoff. I was watching this guy. Somebody recommended this Great Western. They paid for some Great Western training course. The Wyckoff. They're using the Wyckoff thing. And of course, the guy's he's doing crazy speculations without even calling out an entry or how to get in the market. And that stuff they're charging for, they're charging for that. I mean, I get it, but I don't want to be responsible. Like if I said, buy new lows and you go, dude, I just blew up the account. Yeah, dude, how much money is in the account? How big are your tickets? You still have to, even if I said the market's in an uptrend, buy. You going to buy right now or in the morning? Or like, what do you do, right? Put a buy stop 10 pips above because I really want to make sure it's really going up before I get in. I mean, when I hear people talk like that, I'm like, you're fucking joking, right? You're going to put a buy stop. Like, it's worked so far. Shut the fuck up. Okay, I got it. You're a guy that can put a fucking 50 pip stop in. And how often, the 4-hour chart, I got you. Okay. It breaks out an 8-hour range with a 10 pip above entry. Yes, that's a good trade. Fucking duh. But to put in a buy stop 10 pips above, how about a buy limit 10 pips below? How about let the market come to you in some regard? I mean, how could you be so fucking dead on right about the market? And maybe you can be dead on right in an 8 pip range, but even the frequency of retesting an 8 pip range is fucking insane. I've seen markets just sit there and fucking tread water for fucking ever in a 13 pip range. See, that's that Fibonacci, and there you go. What the fuck? Am I supposed to trade that fucking thing? Buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. Or am I supposed to hold it and say, well, I'm in accumulation. This is, or Wyckoff theory. Mark up and then remark up. It pauses, it makes a doji. You can see the doji in the Wyckoff. You're just looking at the baby zigzag. That's all it is a low volatility wave. There's only three candles. Bull, bear, doji. There's only three candles. Bullish candle, bearish candle, and a doji. Now, they would like to make you think that there's a dragonfly and there's a nipple spring or whatever the fuck. These things just are not, you cannot think like that in these fucking markets. You blow your brains out. You be, well, it's kind of like a doji. I don't know. It looks like a hammer. I mean, you can, really? Especially if you're going to look at fucking 20, you're just going to see it. You know, at some point, you're going to have a trade plan. In fact, if you had a trade plan, how about this? Now, if you're never traded in your life, like I said, $2 per ticket, you have a 20 pip stop, and you go looking for places to run a 20 pip stop. You actually go and look for the market. Can I put a 20 pip stop in here? No, this is gold. I mean, this is oil, and I don't really know what a $2 stop looks like on here, but it would look something like this. You'd ask yourself, imagine this is your stop that you're given. This is what you're allowed to risk, and this is your take profit, and it's a buy ticket. Where could you possibly put that? Well, I could put one here. They're not going to let me draw there. Fuck, please hold. Recall is very important to us. So here we go. I could put a ticket here, here, and here, and here, new lows. And crude oil. Does that look like a good place to buy? In here. Here, would you buy there? Well, no, man, because this is where you're supposed to sell. That's a continuation breakout. It's going to go down here. What the fuck you doing? Dude, I'm just talking about making money into this last floor. So it's tight stop. Into the last floor is your target. Into the last floor. So if you're going to buy the new basement, you're going to sell the old floor. Or you buy an old basement and sell the most recent structure. And this is just a different kind of structure than double top, top. So those are swing highs in my book. These are market tops because it closed up there. These are different tops. These highs are a whole different kind of top. That's the window that you would be selling at. So if you wanted to scalp this into the previous, in other words, you know that certain things exist right now even. This is the magic. Oh, here's kind of a semi-candleish look at it. See how disturbing the candles are now? So it took me a while for my brain to, and then you live in both worlds here, but it's a little stressful. Like as far as explaining it and even thinking about, if you have to make trade plans up based on all this data, I do feel a little more comfortable with the, I guess I go to bar. Maybe I can cancel it out. With just pure bars like this. Okay, now this is a whole different look here too. Because that was the, here it is. This is the actual bars, which is the hash mark. When I zoom out one level, I can see the trades in here. But if I go like this, I can't see my entries based on bar by bar trading. Now this is the bigger structure, and some people look at this and base their targets and risk. And here you're asking for quite a bit of time to go by for your entries and your exits. So it's a complete, people say, can you do the 1 minute chart? Well, if I did it, the 1 minute chart, I'd probably do it like this. Because would I want to do a 1 minute chart like this? Maybe, but definitely not like this. There's no perspective here. I can't see the vacuums and the voids and the places we've been. Now this is the monthly, but you can see the problem. This looks like a 1 minute chart. Actually, I go the 1 minute chart. See, 1 minute charts, the spread's just. Yeah, look at the sell-off here. Let's double. Here's the 1 minute chart. It's a whole different world, right? I don't think I'd be looking at. I don't know. Spread's not that bad here, actually. Pretty tight spread here. But the 1 minute chart, you're buying shit like this, right? And you're up on that trade totally into this bottom here. We just put buy limits like this. And then we put a stop here. And this one was at break even here. This is why there's such a reaction there. But it's not like I'm going to put a trend line here and be like, am I going to pull the trigger? Buy. Certainly not going to buy that. And that was right where if there was no spread, this would be your exit. But anyways, going back to the candlestick thing. Oh, here's the S&P. Now this is a buy signal for the. This is a entry for a buy, but I don't know if this can keep going up. So there's always that problem. Because if you're buying every pullback like you would here, see this took a little bit of had a little problem here. Look at the volatility here. It's a monthly S&P 2008. Look at that volatility on those wicks. And everybody's really surprised. This just cracks me up about this. All the pissing and moaning from the fucking morons here. Did you really not think that this was a problem? All this pressure? They just gag and maggot with the stupidities, motherfuckers. All these fucking, oh, it's just a terrible thing that happened there. It should never have happened. Really? Well, I explained this sell-off. 2000. People overbid that? Trees don't grow to the sky. Come on, man. Seriously, look at this area that did not fill. Look at that. Look at this. So now here is the mini VAC, and here's macro VAC. Holy shit. And look at the excitement here, where people are like, oh yeah, tops become bottoms. We're going to keep them going. Hey, Henry, look, we got an entry. Oh, phew, wow. Oh, there's better entry. Oh, bought more. Oof, ouch. Now, this is why having 3 different trade plans, stop, market, and limits, you could make money with your stupid stop trades, and they stop you out. You fill down a limit. You have your orders layered 10 deep. Instead of having 1 ticket, you've got 10 tickets. Or you got 3 tickets. That's an upgrade. 2 tickets is an upgrade. It just makes sense, but it's too much work. Besides, I read all the books. I mean, I know where to get in the fucking market. What do I have to get into multiple tickets for? Look at these glorious stop hunts. This is unbelievable. This thing's going to keep... I think we go through a distribution phase. Now, I would love to see this market come all the way back to here, this double top. Wouldn't that just be hysterical? So people are like, oh, dude, it's just a pullback. Here, it's a great buying opportunity. I buy all pullbacks in an uptrend. Can't you see it's an uptrend? My moving average is pointing up. Jesus Christ. Got here at the 20 EMA. Look at the stop on it here. Load it up, load it up. Oh, yeah, man. It's just great. It's just going to keep going, man. Come on. Well, what if it does one of these guys? Look at this double top. Unfucking believable. Wow. I just wonder what the newspapers were saying this year. Wasn't this when they were like, oh, yeah, real estate's just going to keep going up. It's wonderful. Top become bottom. It's just an amazing pattern, dude. It's just going to break out and go up. Actually, it did finally make it there. And then look at this stop hunt. Boosh. And then some guy had a stop back here at this first top bottom. He was, never touch my stop. Oh, sorry. Oh, here's the top. Become a bottom way back. And oh, jeez. It's never been this low. 1995 prices. Who's buying here? Well, the big boys can see that. You know, not everybody can see these voids. And this void, this is what people thought it was going to be like, oh, yeah, we're done. And I bet here they were saying, oh, see, I told you I was right. Then it rallied, and here comes these guys are like, oh, yeah. Oh, dude, it's going up. I can already see the people that would have thought like that. I think we can see the thinking in these moves. So you bought here. Let me explain this to me. You bought here, and you're like, oh, yeah. Man, you kidding? We bought a load in the wagon. Ooh, look at it. Woohoo. Uh-oh. What? Come back and stop me out, them motherfuckers? Oh, damn stupid stock market. And then look at this triple top, quadruple top becomes a bottom on close and on that wick hunt. Oh, back another wick hunt. So yeah, all the scalpers got their tickets right now pending. All the smart money. All that smart money just piling up in there. What's this smart money shit? I can't fucking believe this way people talk. Well, the smart musicians are playing rock and roll. The smart money's trading long. Are you a trend trader? Oh my God. Well, I'm a trend trader. I don't chase the market. I buy a pullback. You ever heard of 618? Well, let me tell you something. You ever heard of Mr. Fibonacci? It's like, where the fuck these people come from? So, yeah, I would be buying on limits here for some dead cat bounce action. Hey, you got a buy limit here for a scalp here. Okay, next problem. As I bought this at the market here. I got no tickets in this one. All the other stuff I just look at this exit here into the floor. Obvious, right? Finally recovers back to where people thought that was the bottom, man. And now once again, I'm putting in just raw, no script tickets here. Oh, they won't let me put. I loaded the whole platform. They won't let me put on another order. It's another thing. Is look for a broker. If you're over trader, look for a broker that only lets you load so many tickets. Dollar yen. So how about this dollar yen? Did anybody sell this rooftop here? The spectacular. Never made it to here though. Unbelievable. Ouch. Never made it to that line. Whew. So I would still say the weekly's a little bit too much for me. I go to the 4 hour. So looks to me like your buy stops are filled here. Let's see where the stop entries were triggered. If you're running your 4 hour stop bots, buy stops, sell stops, okay, you're filled mostly here, and this is the narrowest range you get for like 16 hours. And then buy stop, sell stop, you're kind of trapped, but you have to be aware of the fact that as soon as you start gobbling up, you should have buy limits down here. You should break out trade entry, and now you're going to have to start deciding, well, am I going to buy this basement, this one, this one, this one, and this one, and this one? And maybe you filled on this one, maybe not. And you're up to here. Hopefully you made enough money to scale in, you scaled out to in. So ultimately, it's not a hard switch entry. To smooth out your equity fluctuation, you would scale in. The market tells you to scale in. Now you got sell limits up here. For the first tickets would have to be scalps to pay for the risk that it's not going to. So you have sell limits here with tight stops to make some kind of profit coming back into the previous rooftop. And you got buy limits here. And maybe you're long, maybe just buy right now at the market because you should have got long here. You should have got long here and here and here. So as the market comes down, creates a vacuum above, tendency to keep filling. So we fill this hole, So it's about the hole filling. Like the guy on the radio used to say, if there's a hole, something's going in it. So your sell stops here, and then this is your insanely low risk entry in the 4 hour, although you could claim this is the only time it would make sense to have a sell stop and a buy stop far away. But I wouldn't stack them all like that. You can just make up a button that says 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's the best way to go. Stops on 4 through 10, 15-minute, 1 hour, whatever, it's just a bottomless pit. It's like saying, well, how do you play guitar? Well, there's so many fucking ways. You could say one note. You could have 2 strings. You could cut off, 4 strings and just play 2 strings. And people would say, it sounds amazing. No shit, I got like $8,000 of effects on that thing. So you don't have to do anything complicated trading. It doesn't have to be. It can be. If you enjoy looking at, bikinis, like, like the ciphers and the bat wings, if you enjoy that, and if you enjoy watching the RSI and the stochastics, I mean, more power to you. Go off into stochastic land, but it doesn't guarantee that you'll know what to do, how big and how tight to trade when you see the signal. And if you want to, I think when it comes to indicators, the problem there is that does need, you're more likely to try to babysit the stochastics because you don't know what stochastics is going to look like in the future, but you know what price is going to look like. You know for certainty that this is new lows, and you know for certainty that this is new highs. There's nothing going to change that. And this is new lows too. And we just went up 4 hours ago. What do you do about it? Do you buy limits here tomorrow, all week long? Do you buy in a couple limits here that are scalp design? Do you wait every 4 hours it's down and buy? If you're going to buy in pullbacks, if it's down in 4 hours, buy. Why such elaborate criteria? And why can't you trade multiple systems? Either you haven't thought about it, you weren't comfortable doing it. Besides, who wants to live 3 different lives? People are supposedly working on a singularity, a single life that is good. They don't think, well, when I come home, maybe they do. They're playing some video game that puts them into a character. But I guess that's what makes it, when people are trading and making money and they're not scared of trading, of the process, they're not afraid of the being at the mercy of the market, so to speak. But that's a psychological framing that you chose. Whereas if you accept all your losses up front, just consider your account blown up. So put $400 in the account and just say, well, there goes that money. I mean, there's got to be some way to make it so you don't have you have a detached feeling. And if you're going to trade the demo account and try to hold in context that it's real money, and I do. When I trade it, I think, yeah, this could be real money, and wow, that's really shitty trading. And I can see immediately the problem is that, well, for this demo I'm just sticking around with here, is that when I do the video on this one, the problem is too many instruments for what I would trade myself, because I have such elaborate order banks that I can't really trade 8 pairs, and I don't want to commingle them in one account. So if I want to go trade something like that, like the yen, I have to do it on a different thing, and then therefore it doesn't look like I'm making any money either. So there's no big problem with showing people one of your accounts. You have to show them all, because you may be getting your ass kicked in this one account. People are going to go, see, I knew you're full of shit. But I can't imagine. I want to be able to see the 5-minute chart and the monthly chart and the 4-hour chart on one instrument on one screen, on one broker. I can keep track of my performance on that one instrument and that one broker. I can't keep track of. I tried to do it, and I actually thought I had done it because I had Australia and New Zealand, and I thought, well, I'm going to trade Australia and New Zealand in this one account, and therefore, since they're kind of like over there, and they both have the dollars the last thing, that, yeah, they kind of move together, and this would be a good way to, but then I was pissed off because the script that runs, if I run a 20 pip script on each of those guys, New Zealand's not moving as much as Australia sometimes, and I'm making the mistake that I think people make with the dollar index, thinking that, oh, the dollar index is doing X, therefore the Australian dollar is going to tank. So I've stared at it for hours. Look at the dollar. You can look at the Swiss against the euro in Forex and say, oh, but then how do you explain when it's not? I had a big argument with a guy, and every time I pointed out where they weren't correlating and they were completely out of sync, he's like, well, yeah, of course. Well, that happens. So, well, it's not a mirror image. Even the Danish kroner against the euro, which is almost a mirror image, is points in time. Besides, it's a completely different pip value, and you just can't launch a simultaneous order even across, well, I mean, every broker has a slightly different price at the moment of execution, how fast their server. I mean, how thin are you, how much perfection are you going to try to put into your thing? So people that trade on their phone can be making a ton of money because they have a different perspective. There's actually less, the phone that I had less data. Like you were only allowed to have, if you zoomed in, you could see like 12 bars. It was amazing. And you're like, oh, I can see what's going on now. But when you have such a long story in there, and what are you doing about the price? I mean, what is that price telling you should be doing? So, what else we got here? We got the, so I'm just rambling again, of course, but, okay, so here's the, oh, I got to take these drawings off. And got to get the, I'll go back to this candlestick chart if I can find it. Oh, here was the channel I think I drew in the last video talking about this entry. We're talking about this channel, and look how I just blew through that. I don't think the market can see my channel. I drew a perfectly good channel there. I think I was talking about the pitchfork too on this one. Like I used to do this all the time, drag this over, say, oh, look at this. Came down here, but okay, but wouldn't you have bought anyways? Here. If you put a buy stop here, what's the better entry? Wasn't it really about this area getting filled? And who's not cashing out now? And who didn't go short? Well, who doesn't have sell limits here? That's probably going to be resistance. This will probably be support, if support's the buy zone. And who would buy here? That's just so silly. I feel like really let down the fact that trading is so simple that all the machinations people throw on top of here, all the moving averages, all the fucking MACD shit, and all this fucking stochastics and RSI, I'm like, Jesus, stop it. And then you look at this and you're like, wow, this really is like a noisy train wreck. Look at the monthly. Huh, geez, what the fuck's going on here? Does anybody remember this move? Look at this amazing rally. What's going on there? So you really can't see what's going on until you zoom all the way out here and you're like, oh, I see. It's one of those fucking 5-year highs. And then look at suck back all the way deep into here. Came all the way back to this. Wow. Amazing. Now what? Well, anybody that bought that dippity-doo, they done good there. Let's see what else. I don't know what to say. have no idea. Okay. I have nothing to say. But, oh, that's the 1 minute. So the guy wanted to talk about 1 minute chart. Yeah, I mean, it really depends. How are you looking at the 1 minute chart? You know, I mean, here the spread's kicking your ass. I'm not thinking, well, I'll put a buy stop here. I just don't think that's viable. You have to almost trade on limits, like try to get in here, but you wouldn't have got filled. You couldn't have a sell stops in here. You'd have to have buy limits in here. So you'd have to trade against. You have to be a market maker on the 1 minute. And the 5 minute, you know, here it's more likely you could do a stop entry here on the 5. But the 1 minute, you almost have to live completely like a market maker. So your sell limits are up here. But your sell limits on the 1 minute are like here, you know, like this. But the problem is, like if you only take low volatility breakouts in the 5 minute oil chart, okay, you made that. If you got out, here's a low volatility thing, and here's just an amazing trend. It never makes look how smooth and clean that is, cuts back. But if you're a limit entry system, you're looking forward to it coming back and crushing into this. This is all your limits are sitting here. You know, distant lows like that, just, you'll see it. Once you look at these charts, you'll say, oh, I see, this is a big thing here. And when they satisfy that, they just drift out. Sometimes they rip out. Like once it's satisfied here with the double bottom, it just rips back out. This is oil. It's all the same. It's all same again. The trend following people are going to tell you, well, I got in here. What are you talking about? I think oil's had it. Looking at this thing just tripped out here tonight. It's just so over. The oil guys on the 5 minute are saying like, hey, man, dude, we're running sell stops. Oh, we're short. More sell stops. Oh, got more. Every time you make a higher low, bar by bar, you got the sell stop stacking. Oh, yeah. Selling every rally on stops even makes money here until a little choppy here and then kaboosh. Look at that cut through. Isn't that just fast? I'm fascinated. I guess that really would attract me to these markets is shit like this. Look at this 15-minute oil chart. And what is going on here, people? Wow. Look at that. Damn. We're down 10 cents on the pump here right now from this move. But that's just a fatter version of this thing. And this is quite the pressure. Let me zoom out one level. Look at these crushes on this oil market. Now I'm looking at the void because the bar by bar at this level of zoom out, you can really see this hole forming. Because we don't know how high it's going to go, but we know that, and this would be your triangle, your classic triangle, or just the fact that it's unable to fill that void, low volatility, and it's just painfully obvious. And here is the limit order craze coming in. And depending on how you ran your stops there, and then just wham. This is the 1 hour oil chart, which is pretty decent way to trade it. If I was going to be what Curtis Hanley, the Forex Hangout guy, claims he's an intraday trader, I would just be placing, if I was trading oil, I'd just be like, oh yeah, let's put some orders in here. I'm an intraday trader. Oh, didn't get filled on all those, you know. There's a couple of bat wings in there. Am I going to buy here? What am I going to do? I wouldn't be on the 5 minutes. Right, this would prove the trade plans of buying here because of this. Placing orders When the market's here, you're putting buy limits here. It's just so stupid. When the market's here, you're putting sell limits here. The market was there, and you could see the previous high to put your sell limits in. It's just so stupid. No, not every trade's going to work out, and not every fill's going to get filled. Your sell limits here never got filled. That's why you have to run the goober entry. Sell stops. You notice this vacuum, you're like, oh yeah. What happens when they take this out? Well, you could buy in limits here, and they're going to crush you. The only time you make money is in this last limit, dead cat bounce. But you had to have some clue that you may not see this over and over again, where they come down here, right? Come down here. Even this one lost money for a little bit till you really piled into it. So the dynamic of the market is what's going to befuddle you, because the problem is you decided to risk X. I'm going to trade with a 20 pip stop. Okay, that's just to get used to the idea of trying to write a trade plan and then look for a market to launch it in, as opposed to looking at a market and then thinking about a trade plan for it. Because if you start with a top down or bottom up, if you start with the risk first and then this is you gotten that out of the way. Then you go looking for a place to launch the thing. So in the time frame, and it doesn't mean that just because you're on the 5-minute chart that you're going to trade every 5 minutes. It depends on how you assess whether you want to swing trade it, range trade it, or you want to trade breakout continuations. Or you just want to trade on the fucking clock, so every time it's up, you're selling, and every time it's down, you're buying. Not every time, but the magnitude of the up and down is going to be determining how wide a stop. So you're going to have to risk more on a big move and less on a small move. Especially if the market does a baby rally into a downtrend, you would say, well, I'm going to sell heavy here because I can run tighter stops. So you're trading heavy when it's quiet, and you're trading light when it's loud. Because this way you would keep your risk in the same dollar-wise. And that's another problem, is that if you're thinking in terms of the ATR and not adjusting the size of the tickets so that in the end everything comes out relatively linear dollar risk, as opposed to this 500 pip thing. I made 500 pips. Okay, great. So, you know, depending on the size of that ticket, you have to endure a lot of volatility, equity volatility. So you see your equity swinging around, you're like, oh, geez, I mean, now at some point, like I said, you would become callous to that. And if you had more than one account, you would just like, okay, you kind of get detached from it. And it just becomes like a normal thing. Just like your car. Somebody could steal your car. Or not a lot of people drop off free cars, but so it's usually a one-way street there. You buy a car, it's depreciating, but you're going to win a car, right? Go on some game show, win a car. But the trading thing, I think it does feel like you want a car if you just made like the amount of money for a car, only using the price of a used car. And even at 51 leverage, you're doing that. Or 30 to 1, or we're down at 10 to 1. 1 to 1. Someday it'll be inverted leverage, right? You got to have $4,000 in your account to put on a 2-1 case. So that's possible too, right? But yeah, I just think in the Bitcoin thing is still. The guys were talking about the tether. I go, well, of course there's the tether. And I didn't even hear about Tether till yesterday. So I'm just catching up in the Bitcoin world. But they talked about Tether caused this move. And I'm looking at Tether's a pretty good price. Even if it's slipping 10 cents a year, it's better than nothing. And when you're in the black market, and you're getting your hose for you have to pay 10% like human trafficking fees, it's fine. You're going to make it up. Even if it goes to 20%, you're making it up. Come on. It's like mafia underground. It's like you're either gonna go legal and pay taxes, or you're gonna go and pay that in the slippage in the spread of the underground market. So either way, so people that think they're going to get a better deal. I didn't Weather Report have an album called Black Market. So if you think you're going to get a better deal, you're still going to have to pay a fee. It's like you either pay the sales tax at your local place, or you pay shipping for Amazon. So whatever that shipping fee is. So your local tax thing, yeah, people are doing the math on that. Not everybody. Some people are just like, they're girls. They're out there pulling the trigger. Like I said, a friend of mine, she has purchased double and triple shit because she's got it set to one click. And she's like butt buying, I guess. She's just hitting the thing fucking like an idiot and getting double shit, and then she's not sending it back because she's like, well, I can use another pair. Good Lord. I mean, how many purchases Amazon's, it's a big scam. Amazon's like Krispy Kreme donuts. What's going on out there? But I never could handle getting caught up in that. When people started talking about the fundamentals of the market, well, Trump's going to do this and it's going to do that to the market. Okay, great. Remember peak oil? This fucking goober on TV, well, it's going to run out of oil. This is when oil was like $140 a barrel. They're just all going to die. Oh, really? Ass clown. Well, the thing came all the way back to like $50 a barrel. It's hysterical shit. I can't wait to watch Bitcoin crash and the stock market crash. I couldn't be happier. It's ridiculous. I mean, people just, and then when they say, well, here's the scam will be. Stock market sells off, or goes the bear market, you know what they'll say? Well, if they outlaw people buying their own stock, they'll keep on taking people out of the picture. To the point where the government's, this is my big fear, the government regulates everything and the markets lose all volatility and these just stand still with a fucking monster spread in your face. And nobody's trading it. And then I got to go get a legitimate fucking income. I got to go fucking sell my artwork. But yeah, I would love to sell my artwork, but it's like, that's a whole fucking pain in the ass too. And then I'm like, oh gosh, should I keep painting the same thing? If people like, oh, and then of course, not to mention, what if people like something you don't like, and they're like, would you please paint some more of that shit you don't like? Because trading's the only thing that's kind of you may be lonely, but that's the point. Nobody's saying, oh, you got to buy this Eurodollar. And when you buy the Eurodollar doesn't say to you, oh, well, you going to buy me again, or are you just going to abandon me? I mean, there's no relationship there. And even if you owned a business, you had to call somebody and go, yeah, we're switching our brand of chocolate. I hate to bum you out, but, we found a better deal. Some people will actually keep buying from a guy they like, even though it sucks. So it's a really cold market. The markets are cold, and it's difficult to become a robot. I guess that's why people think robot's the answer, because there's no emotion. The robot's just going to pull the trigger. All right. So some of these market moves are just psychosis. And look at the pressure building up here. This was the classic setup, and this has been going on for quite some time. You can say what you will about that spike. And the causes for it, to me, the cause is that lack of volatility. And the ultra lack of volatility is, well, it goes down pretty hard and there's no volatility. But every time there's no volatility, all of a sudden there's volatility. These are pretty good moves too. And these spikes, look at this spike. What do you tell me this is? Some Tinder shit? Tinder tether shit? I mean, what the fuck? Look at this fucking move. Wow. Look at these zigzaggy moves. Man, there's so much money in here. That's $8,000 on Bitcoin. Wow. So yeah, what's the story? Are we breaking out of this thing? Are we going to just finally take off, or is it total meltdown? I heard a guy say it's going down because it's been going down. But look at this floor. This is getting fragile here, man. It's $6,000. Wow. What the hell? Oof. I remember this, like, I've seen these markets just go down. And yeah, maybe this tether thing's going to bring it all to fuck. But that's what people will say. But you know, even if it came back to here, I'd buy it at $2,000. Right here, when they come back to this last top bottom at like 2,500 or something, I'd buy it there. So we have $6,000. $3,000 I'll buy it. Just put a limit at $3,000. Walk away. All the way down. Every $500 handle. How much to buy though? Definitely buy a lot here. I'd even buy more down here at $400. Can you imagine what they're going to say if Bitcoin goes down to $500? What do you think they're going to say? How about 1,300? Look at 1,200. Goes down to the same price as gold. Look at that $1,000. You could drop like another. This is incredible, man. I've never more fascinated in my life this Bitcoin shit. So yeah, I don't know. And if you're right about your predictions, then it's fun to speculate about the. I would definitely have bought this plunge here for a scalp in oil. If I was an oil trader, I'd be long on a bunch of shit here, and I guess this is my first dead cat bounce scalp. It looks like they're going to rise up. And I want to dump everything here and get out of my first... I guess there's no point in getting out of this one. This one probably would have a target that's like here and a stop here maybe, but it already blew through it. So how do you get in here? You have to buy one here, and if the stop was here to make this would mean you have to play that whole trade out. But as you bought into this, did you have enough money to buy past your stop here? And will you hold this if we should make it to here? And will you hold it all the way until it makes this 68 a barrel? That's quite a sell-off. That is a fucking sell-off. Look at that thing. Are you kidding me? Oil took a hit in one day. Yeah, so this is the big abyss. I would buy that area, and I'd certainly buy here, but that's about it. Now, this is another thing. If you are the guy that's saying, well, you know what? I'll just wait for the market to come to me. I'm not going to sell here because I think it's going to go up here. Fine. But, see, that's the thing. Maybe you've got some other ore in the water. Maybe you got some other thing rolling. It just depends. It's impossible to even really, everybody's trading with the comfort level they can sustain and the time they have to work with this, or don't even care. Like I said, if you're substantially miserable doing anything else, do that. It's not going to change much here, because no one trade has a higher probability of the other than the other trade. Here I'd buy more, but they'd lock me out. So I think we're going to breach this. That was the target if you bought down here. But look at all the trades inside of that on the 4-hour chart. There's just tons of re-entries here. And here's another problem, is that you would have to keep on rinsing and repeating. Sell, buy, sell, buy. The problem with range trading is it's just where the trend trade is, you just, okay, we bought here in the trap, below in this void, and we are expecting that it's not going to sell off there because it already did it here, and now we're going to crush through to here, and we're going to come chase this shit down. And then by the end of the year, we're going to be blowing through this. Or we're going to be, or you're selling here and you're going to ride it all the way down. And this is your idea. It's going to go all the way down and you've drawn it straight lines. But you're lying because the market doesn't move in a straight line. So you'd actually, if you're really going to do your projections, it's going to have to look like, okay. And then we get out here. I always see this harebrained fantasy stuff people draw like, well, it goes up like this, and then it just goes here, and then it goes there. See how that is? Yeah, right. That's exact. Look at this thing. Are you kidding me? Now, is this a 5 top or a 4 top? So some people are counting these tops. Some people are counting these tops. Some people are saying, well, this is a channel we're going down. And some people are saying, well, what about this? Do you think anybody's buying into this for a rally to here? Do you think anybody's selling at this resistance? Look at this big stop hunt. So you bought here. You're holding on to it. You're like, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. This is just a pullback. Don't worry. I have a top become a bottom here. Anybody see a problem here with this top-bottom theory, structure theory? When the stop entry traders are kicking your ass because they just sold here and they got trapped on one ticket, but they got 2 tickets. They got trapped on one there, but these other 2 paid off. Then they put limits in here. Oh, but I trade structure. See, I'm a price action trader. Tops become bottoms or pull back. We're just simply going to go like this. Can't you see it? Wah, wah, wah. You can't have one. To really make the most out of this, you can't have one trade plan. Look at this beautiful stop entry here. Amazing, huh? Buy stop, sell stop. Nice clean. But once it starts to come into there, man, wow. Never fills these buy limits, though. That's why I think you do have to buy at the market, on limits here, and on a buy stop, fill there. Buy stop here. You're locked. It is not a buy at the market, though. So you're letting the market dictate your style, and you don't have much to say about it if you want to make the most amount of money. Like, I'm like speaking in terms of maximum return. The ultimate approach is more than one, being able to play more than one techniques, especially in guitar. You know, if you could do a technique on the guitar, you play in the same key with a different technique and it sounds like a different thing. So you have texture, your technique. You have the fundamental interval. Is it a minor or major move? So you should be able to take anything in the world and plug it in here so that you can, whatever you know how to do. Are you a plumber? Do you have 1/2 inch pipe, 3/4 inch pipe? Do you have, I mean, there's no plumber just has one size of pipe. But that's what they make you believe in these courses are giving. Well, what you do here is you see you're using a moving average on like a 1-inch pipe. It doesn't make any sense. You should be able. This should be just a stupid job. This is just a dumbass job. It's as dumb as job as any job, and this is worse than working at McDonald's. I think the sophistication people apply to this, like, and then you have all these fancy buzzwords. It's just hysterical. What's called, listen, this is level 2 pricing, what we're talking. This is market profile. This is, I'm sorry, but this is an exponential moving average. I mean, you can tell me whatever. These 20 EMAs are used by the banks. What, to make a ham sandwich during lunch? How, do you see a 20 EMA failing on this chart at all? I mean, anybody can imagine a 20 EMA there. And you put it up there and you'd be like, well, it was right here. It was correct here. Okay, it's randomly fucking correct. And you're going to use a 20 EMA. Well, yeah, because the one period is just too noisy. I figured out how to. Okay, I noticed a lot of noise on your recording. What I did is I master albums and I just take the noise out. Turns out there's just nothing there. Yeah, I know half of the fucking music's noise, idiot. Well, the cymbals sound like fucking white noise. I got rid of those right away. There's so much noise in there. I just ended up with fundamental kick drum and bass. Yeah, well, I got it down to just like a kick drum. That seemed to be like a profound part of the music. I took all the noise out. I mastered your album, man. It's amazing. That's the new master. That's what hip hop. When I heard rap music, I go, boy, they really fundamentalized that. We're just gonna have a drum loop. Wow. Okay. It's MACD music. Yeah, we just that swing time stuff was just boy, that stuff where the beat slightly drifts is just too organic for us. We're just gonna go fucking drone. Just put a goddamn fucking loop kick drum on. So that's what's happened. You typically are going to trade your personality. So if you're a conservative person, you're going to put on one ticket. You're going to get out your Gartleys, your Compass, your 618s, and your Renkos, and you're going to be like, okay, I don't care what they say. I'm just going to try. Okay. But I just would get an anxiety attack if I had to live like that. Plus, I'd be thinking, gosh, at this rate, I might as well get a prayer towel and pray for my trades too. So I don't know how far you want to go into the mystic realm. But unfortunately, it's just every day is going to be different. And you can kind of see the train coming up. You can see the pressure building up. There's clues. I mean, voids leave clues. You could say the structure is the top and bottom, but there's the other structure. It's a lack of structure, the area between. So they can't. One needs the other to exist, right? Because you can't have a structure without a space first. So that's it sounds philosophical, but unfortunately, you have to have some way to clean up the chaos and the so-called noise and make sense of it all, and accept that in the end, the market's oscillating 80% of the time. There's a couple clean, insane moves, but I would say 80% of it is pure garbage. I mean, no, it's not going anywhere. You can kind of see it here. 20%, then 80%, then 20%. This is the 20%, 80%. 80%, who's making money here? You have this clean price pulse, chop, clean price pulse, pretty much chop. There's only these two masterful, and did your 20 EMA queue up to that? Not unless you went to the 2-hour chart and forced it. Oh yeah, here's on the 1-hour chart. Yeah, what are you talking about, man? You get to see 618. Great, you found one entry. Look at you, and it's 6.18, not 62 or 63.5. Well, no, 63.5 is not a Fibonacci number. Oh boy. Step away from the Kool-Aid, or whatever they say. I don't know. It probably doesn't help much, but there you go.